welcome back to my kitchen and welcome to the Recipe Therapist. So on today's episode, I'm going to be making for all of you a classic meatloaf recipe. This recipe is so delicious, it comes out great every time. But you know, I switched up a couple of the ingredients and today I'm going to share that version of it with you. So stick around and let me show you how I do it. Now I want to show you what goes into this classic meatloaf. So come over here and take a look. We're going to start out with 2 pounds of 80% lean ground beef. To that, we're going to add half a cup of whole milk, and I diced a small onion here in small little cubes. Now, in a classic meatloaf recipe, they use regular plain breadcrumbs, but today I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to use some Japanese style panko breadcrumbs. For those of you who don't know what panko is a breadcrumb that's just crispier and flakier than regular breadcrumbs. It works so well in this recipe. I prefer this, but if you don't have it, you can use regular plain breadcrumbs. We're going to use 2 room temperature eggs, 1 teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of black pepper. Now, another favorite ingredient of mine is going to be 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. Now, you won't find that usually in a classic recipe for meatloaf, but in this one, this adds so much flavor. It's so delicious. And another secret ingredient is a half a teaspoon of some red pepper flakes, which adds that little bit of, heat to the recipe. And last but not least, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. So now that is the base of this meatloaf. Now for the top of this meatloaf, we're going to make a delicious glaze. We're going to put a half a cup of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and last but not least, we're going to use 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, and it's going to be so delicious. Oven to 350 degrees, and I added all of the ingredients into this bowl. But before I start mixing this, I want to show you the pan that we're going to be using today. We're going to be using a 9x13 glass casserole dish, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray it with some nonstick cooking spray. All right, and then I'm going to add about a tablespoon of some olive oil as well, because I want the bottom of this meatloaf to get really crispy. All right. Meatloaf into the pan, and now I'm just going to shape it into almost like a football shape, and you can see I didn't over mix it. You see those onions popping out? I mean, honestly guys, the onions in this recipe add so much flavor as well. So I'm shaping this into, like I said, a football or even like an egg, and that's it. I mean, this is such an easy recipe, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this in the oven and we're going to cook it for about 45 minutes, and about 15 minutes before it's done, we're going to add that glaze on the top, that ketchup glaze, and that's what makes this even more delicious. While our meatloaf is in the oven, let me show you how we're going to make that glaze. I'm going to take that ketchup. It's really simple. We're just going to take our ketchup and we're going to add it to the bowl. I mean, really, guys, this is so simple. I'm going to take the brown sugar, which hardened up. All right, let's do this. And take it out with my hands, my clean hands. All right, and I don't want to leave any in there because it's the sweetness of that brown sugar that makes this glaze really, really good. And our 1 tablespoon of our Worcestershire sauce. All right, and that's it. I mean, how easy is this? I'm just going to mix it together, break up that, brown sugar, and then once our meatloaf is done, we're going to cook it another 15 minutes with this on top, and it's going to harden on the top, and it's going to add, that sweet, glaze that we love so much on our meatloaf. The meatloaf cooks for about 45 minutes, and look at it. See, it makes this nice juice. All right, so now we're ready to add this glaze. So I'm just going to take this just like this, and let it, you know, go all on the top. It's okay if it drips down. Now what it's gonna do is, it's gonna like harden on the top, all right? It's gonna almost like caramelize on top of this meatloaf. And then I'm gonna put it right back into that oven for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to take it out and we're going to take a taste. All right, so it's been 15 minutes and let's take a look at this delicious glaze on top of that meatloaf. Wow, that looks really, really good. That's perfect. You see how it's sort of like hardened up and it smells so good. You should smell this house. Oh my goodness. Look at this meatloaf. Does that look so good? I put it on this beautiful platter and it fits perfectly. And it smells so good, like I said before, and I am going to dig in and take a taste of this. So let's take a look at it. I always love, I don't know about you, but I love the end pieces. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. I could see the smoke coming out. So I'm gonna take this piece right here. And you can see, you know, those onions in there. And that glaze is nice and like, you know, hard on the top. So I'm gonna go and cut into this. I'm gonna blow on this. It looks hot. Delicious as always. I hope you guys give this one a try. I know I say that on all my videos, but I won't release anything that's not really good. So I want to thank you all so much for watching today. It's always a pleasure to have you join me in my kitchen. Make sure if you like today's recipe, you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss any of my other recipes. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. Serve up some more love. Take care.